Hello, friends. Welcome back to John's Comics with Friends and another omnibus discussion. I've been doing a lot of these of late, and it's been a whole lot of fun, almost like a monthly routine, getting into rereading or enjoying some stories for the first time that are now collected in fun editions. And it all kind of started with my friend JP. What's going on, JP?
Started with me.
This did.
This
No, I
version
think
did, yes.
this version did. I mean, it was at first like, oh, I want to read this. Do you want to read this? And then it became like every month we're picking an omnibus and plowing through it.
Yes, we've definitely gotten more, we've forced ourselves to buy more omnis. Oh no.
Curses. I will say I've been cheating some of these later ones that I've got all the single issues. I've just been like, I'm so at the con. I saw this omnibus so many times and considered buying it. It is, as you know, and let's talk a little bit, I guess, about where I'm at with this. When I found Bendis's Daredevil, I also found Bendis's New Avengers. They tend to run a little concurrent with one another.
There's some overlap.
And I became absolutely obsessed with his writing. And then, of course, later I found his Ultimate Spider-Man, and it was like this whole he was on a roll at this point at Marvel.
Early 2000s. Bendis
there was nobody else. It was Bendis running the show, and so I was very tempted to buy this omnibus. I have the entire run in single issues, and even some of the like the second volume stuff I've got, like, because they spun it off a couple times with new writers, and so I've got a ton of the New Avengers stuff. And of course, seeing Thunderbolts, I was actually watching the trailers for Thunderbolts today because it's been retroactively teased as being New Avengers, as we'll get into with the Sentry storyline that occurs here. It brought up a lot of those same feelings, and I was excited by but I didn't buy it. I came super close. And in the end, I've been cheating by just reading the singles or reading digitally. So I'm excited to talk about this run, just as much as I was the Daredevil run that we preceded this with, because we did that entire Bendis era on Daredevil. And then obviously Daredevil has some time here in this story. I guess let's say hello to the friends in the chat. Look, gang. we were talking backstage. John's off his meds a little bit today. He's back to working. He's trying to be keeping up on his reading. The girls have got sports. Kate made varsity volleyball. So life is busy in the household here. And gang, just like I'm not in the headspace, but I'm excited for this discussion because this series means a ton to me. And whether you like it or not is unimportant. We'll get to your opinion in a second.
My opinion is unimportant.
It doesn't matter.
I've been told that.
It's not going to impact my joy from this conversation. But I'm excited to discuss it because I've never really had a chance to do a live stream long form discussion of this series. I've done like the story breakout. I've talked about the Sentry with other people as well, but to do the whole volume 1, I'm kind of excited to get into that this evening. So thank you for being willing to ride the rap on this. We got Ruben Guzman tailgating 30 minutes ago. Thank you, buddy. He has the notification clicked because he was here when the warning went off 30 minutes ago. Derek ran through here right at 6:03 when I should have been going live, but I was talking backstage. We got Gramps in the chat. What's going on, Gramps? Good to see you, sir. I was in a live stream chat with him not too long ago. We were bantering and having a good time. Rod, the freaking Rican, dropping that wrench in the chat, doing his work. Thank you, Rod. I appreciate you, my friend. Rod. Bearded Comic Bro says, watching two bearded Bendis bros talk New Avengers. And I know he's the big Bendis fan as well. So I appreciate you coming by, my friend. We got John Stout. Good to see another John in our community hanging out here. Appreciate you, friend. Bredazzle's in the chat. What's going on? Happy, what is it today? Thursday. Happy Thursday, guys. And my man, Phil Ailing. What's going on, Phil? I haven't seen you in a while. I hope your things are going well. I hope life is doing good things for you. Yes, you heard Bendis. This is Bendis, man. He does. Bendis is a not only a Portland a native who is incredibly connected to the comic community in Portland. I want to shout him out that he was incredibly supportive of Jen. And when he found out Jen was ill, he actually sent her a care package himself of comics and things for her to enjoy, and then sent money to her GoFundMe. So Bendis is on a whole other level, in my opinion. He gets top tier status for that alone. But yeah, let's do first thoughts. I've spoken a lot, so let's get, I would love to hear what your entry point was for this run, like what you knew about it going in, what you were curious about, and then your overall thoughts on this, because this is the first volume of New Avengers, because it's quite a long series, and he was
it goes much longer than this. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's just start with my history with the Avengers. So when it comes to Marvel, historically, I've read a lot of Spider-Man stuff. I've read a lot of X-Men stuff, and a little bit here and there of everything else.
Sure.
And so whereas I'd had almost no experience with Daredevil, I have had some Avengers experience, but probably my longest run of Avengers stuff was the very recent Jason Aaron run on Avengers that I read the first 30 something issues of that I was reading. And then before I finally dropped off that, and then otherwise it's just been a story or a crossover or something here or there is really the extent of Avengers. I know all the characters, I know and I knew about this run in terms of, I knew Spidey was part of the team for really kind of the first time. It was a very different team that Bendis had put together. I knew that it led into some huge Marvel crossover events that
and even came out of some big ones.
And came out of some of those.
Yeah.
And so there was, there was a bunch of that kind of stuff. But otherwise, I didn't really I knew Sentry came out of it. So I knew the basics, but I hadn't read any of this. So it was all new to me.
Sure.
My general impression of this is I feel about this run, or this Omni, which takes us through
issue 31.
The end of the previous run, 500 through 503, the finale, and then through issue 31 with a few other side issues and crossover stuff that went with this volume. I feel almost exactly about this run as I do about the Marauders run that you and I both enjoyed, that came out early out of Hickman.
That's a huge compliment.
12 issues or so were amazing, and then it got completely sidetracked by all these events that it kept crossing over into, that you couldn't, if you weren't reading all of them, you couldn't really follow what was going on. It made it confusing. And even though the individual issues were good, it made reading that book hard.
Sure.
And that's what I feel reading this.
Okay.
Is that even when we get into the second half of this, I'm still enjoying the individual issues for what they are. But in terms of reading this as a story arc, it's a pain in the ass. Because unless you're reading all of Civil War and all of House of M and all, it's a pain in the ass, because you'll read, you'll get to the end of the chapter and you'll turn to the next page and shit has happened that you don't know anything about. Yeah. And the dynamic is completely changed.
That's a very fair assessment. Yeah. And I think it's that era of Marvel where they were doing not only events, but in my opinion, some very consequential events. Because some events, everything reboots at the end and it doesn't really matter. But Civil War and House of M were not like that. They were massively impactful.
I mean, you literally go from Tony and Cap are oh, how are we going to keep this team together and work buddy? And then the next page, they're trying to kill each other. It's not really, but you know what I mean? They're at each other's throat, and you didn't see, and all of it happened in other books. or in the event. And so it did dampen my joy for this. It didn't dampen my joy for the beginning. It did dampen my joy for this just because it is so, and even the start of it, which you get sort of a part of the Avengers Disassembled event, which led to House of M. Like, you get part of it, but it's so bound in all of these monster events that it's hard to just read and enjoy on its own.
Yeah.
On its own merits, if that
Sure.
makes any sense.
No, that's fine. So then let's dive into the first few stories, because obviously those are the best. Those are my faves.
Yeah.
You said you read a lot of Spider-Man. You said you read a lot of Wolverine. For me, like, the first few stories, it's like it's the like stacked Avengers team that you're getting here, and you're a big Spider-Woman fan as well, Jessica Drew. How did you feel about how this team sort of comes together here at the beginning in Breakout?
And I thought Breakout was. So this is my thing. I thought Breakout was really well done. I thought the way they brought the team together, I thought that they had a purpose, and then they just sort of forget Breakout because House of M happens, and then Civil War happens, and so we don't get. I would have loved to have gotten another arc of them dealing with the aftermath of Breakout, like Breakout itself it sets up so much stuff. It's so well written. Like, we get Sentry out of it. We get this new team. They have a purpose for why they've come together. We get a little bit of them starting to track people down and like figure out what's going on in the bigger picture, which my guess is the reveal that we get at the end of this Omni, which I know the event it leads into, has as much to do with Breakout as anything, but we don't really get a finale to some of that stuff. So
I see. And I've recommended this to other people that felt like there was an element of it being disjointed and that it's a little choppy as far as a read because you skip around. For me, it gives me Claremont vibes, because there are the same kind of vibes in early X-Men where you're like, oh, when's that story going to come back later? When's that going to get picked up later? Yeah. Jessica Drew is the prime example where her story is very choppy, and what goes, I think it works. And I've, on this read, I picked up a lot more of the nuance of kind of what's going on there. But I can understand as a reader when you're like, wait, when are they going to pick up that Wolverine plot line from the Savage Lands again? Or no, when are they going to get back to what Spider-Man's doing in his world, or Daredevil being outed? Like, when are they going to get to those things? Yeah. And it kind of jumps around a lot, giving this character a little moment and this character a little moment.
Yeah. And it was just like, and I feel like I've been overly negative about it because I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed the individual issues and arcs, but it's just like, okay, we're setting something up that I thought could be big, but then Marvel's like, nope, we're doing House of M. And it's like, and nope, we're doing Civil War. It's like, okay, we're not going to deal with some of this other stuff in an effective way. And I know the run continues after this. I don't know if Volume 2 has come out yet, or if they're planning.
I don't know that there's a second omnibus at this point.
Yeah, I don't know what the plan is there, but like, because
at the beginning,
Omni is. Like,
wait, let's not get to the end. We're still on Breakout and how this started.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I keep getting distracted because you start talking about it being disjointed and just
who's more scatterbrained here? Me or I don't know what's going on. So the beginning gives us kind of the end of House of M and some of the stuff that were happening to the disassembled, right? When Wanda basically like does her no more mutants kind of thing. And then this volume, what I love personally, I don't think I need the disassembled stuff. I like starting at Breakout issue number 1 with like the prison break and Spider-Man's getting his arm broken and Captain America's, fighting guys off, and the Sentry is locked in the basement and Daredevil's there to try to get him out, and everybody's dealing with these villains like everywhere around those. I think it's like 3 issues are some of my favorite Avengers comics, period. Like, they are just. And they're technically not Avengers comics because the characters aren't a team yet. They become a team out of this.
Yes.
But I love it. I love Jessica Cruz down there.
Jessica Drew.
Jessica Drew. because we also have Jessica Jones in this story, and I don't want to mess up all my Jessicas. There's so many little nuanced things. Even Foggy has some good jokes down in the basement. The Purple Man versus Luke Cage was fucking great. Like, there are no bad moments in those 3 issues for me. I was just curious when you got to those issues, how you reacted to it.
So I get, from your perspective of somebody who knows this run, like, that starting the Omni there would have been perfect. And I think it would have been fine to start it there. For me, it was nice because I didn't necessarily know the disassembled stuff, that like to get the background of why there was no Avengers. Like it was a nice addition, but it wasn't required. Like you could have definitely started at Breakout and been fine with, hey, currently there's no team. This is the event, and these are the folks that respond to this event. And there's freaking sirens going off. So Spidey's like trying to figure, like Spidey's just swinging around the thing, like, oh crap, something's happening, which is like this whole...
And it starts with the bad guys meeting at this seedy bar, and you see that it's Electro, and then there's the city. You get Daredevil going down into the sub basement in the raft, and he's like, who's he going to meet? And you're like, what's going on down in the bottom of this place? And then the power outage, right? And the giant lightning bolt crashing into the prison and setting all the characters free, and then Spider-Man catching a ride on a helicopter to go see what's going on the raft. Like, for me, it's a thrilling way to start it, because it's all taking place in real time. It's just happening in the moment. It's a very thrilling way to start.
No, I agree. Like the Breakout stuff at the beginning is fantastic, and you get that, like, these are, because to a certain degree, outside of Spidey, like, these are not, or well, even if you include Spidey, other than Cap and then Iron Man, this is not a traditional Avengers alignment.
No.
None of these folks have been Avengers previously.
And they're not good at being a part of a team. Like, they don't, the teamwork aspect is always playing a factor, whether they, know it or not. How well they can work as a group is the big question.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, like, secrets, right? Jessica Drew being the biggest one, right? The fact that she's a triple agent in some way or another.
Well, and we don't get to the biggest secret of that later. Yeah. But she's like was recruited by Hydra for Shield, but Shield knows that she's doing for Hydra, but Hydra knows that Shield knows that she and so they're still playing her, even though both sides know that what she's doing, and she's telling both sides, this is what's happening, and they're both like, we're gonna still like force you to do this. And then it's like, oh, and then now you're gonna go be on the Avengers and fight for both of us on them.
So they're all sort of like not sure how much they can trust each other, and you even have Peter Parker like, I don't know who to tell my identity to or who not to tell my identity, and then of course, during Civil War, he tells the world his identity, and that plays into it. And Matt Murdock and his, everybody knows my identity, but is it my identity? I can't tell you that it's my identity. There's a lot of trust issues here, and a lot of lone wolves. You look at Luke Cage, Wolverine, Jessica Drew. These are very much characters who are, I think, would prefer to be on their own and not necessarily playing well as a group. So I like that. I like that design for this, and for me, it works all the way through this volume.
Yes,
the ways in which they struggle to be a team together. So Breakout obviously ends for me in some spectacular fashion. Getting to see Sentry rip Carnage in half in outer space is still one of my favorite.
Sort of random, but it's so good.
Well, it's so great. And then later, I don't know if you remember the like callback that happens in the King in Black when Null rips the Sentry in half. There's some fun things at play for me in this first storyline, and then of course we go to the Savage Lands to pick up Wolverine, because that's where Sauron was the purpose of this prison break, his hiding out, and the team has to basically stop him, catch him, and deal with Wolverine being Wolverine. anything you want to say about that storyline? And I realized I left my notes in the other room. I got to try to remember what the following storylines are. I know the Sentries.
Do I need to talk for a minute so you can go get them?
I mean, yeah. Tell me your thoughts on the Savage Land, and I'm going to run.
So the Savage Land stuff, I think, was interesting because they're going there after Sauron. Of course, Wolverine is in the Savage Land because there's got to be an X-Men in the Savage Land, and that's how they pull him into this. For me, it was an interesting addition of having Yelena, who we've in the Thunderbolts movie and obviously Black Widow in the MCU has become a big part. But I hadn't, other than the really recent Black Widow run, I hadn't read any Yelena stuff. So getting her introduced in this way, because this is very early Yelena in terms of in Marvel Universe. So that was very jarring to see her in this particular role, and the fact that, and this is where we get the view that S.H.I.E.L.D. is a very different thing than what we're used to, because Nick is not in charge, and Maria Hill is not particularly interested in these Avengers at all, and having to do anything.
This is still white Nick Fury.
Yeah,
we haven't gotten to Sam Jackson Nick Fury at this point.
Yeah, this is still pre Sam Jackson Nick Fury.
Maria is finally in her position of power, and she's trying to balance these things. Like we saw her in the Daredevil run, being unwilling to help Matt with his predicament and help Black Widow with her desire to help him. So yeah, S.H.I.E.L.D. is a big question mark in this volume, and of course continues to be all the way through the Civil War stuff. And so the team is very much, again, I like the comparison to the Thunderbolts movie, because there is a lot of underlying like distrust of one another and distrust of the systems of government that are around them.
No.
And they want the freedom to operate independently because they don't trust the oversight that exists, which is the dispute that is in Civil War. So for me, what I love about the volume as a whole, and I guess we're skipping around as I am wont to do, despite the disjointed reading and the idea that you could not read this volume without knowing what happens in Civil War. Like if you like, I understand that House of M was before this and it sets up this, and there's a little bit of stuff going on, but is clearly where they're referencing No More Mutants and things like that. That for me is just the setting, and I don't think you necessarily need it, but if you did not read Civil War, you would be lost. Like if you don't, at least that mini series, like I understand not necessarily reading the Spider-Man issue where he comes out or whatever. Like if you don't read Civil War and you don't know what happens in that, I think you would absolutely be lost in that section. Yeah, but I guess we'll get there.
If you're jumping at it, but
I'm not. I'm just saying, like for me, like that seems vital reading, that I would rather they have included those, 8 issues, than the disassembled stuff.
I think
guess
so.
That's what
I would agree with that, because that would make the last half a lot less confusing.
If you start with Breakout as like we're just diving right in, and you have a previously on page that just tells you why there's no Avengers team, where Scarlet Witch is, and what happened. Like, just give me that one page of like previously on Avengers, and then just run Breakout and the Sentry, and then give me all the issues of Civil War. I think that's a better fit for this omnibus.
I would agree with that.
But I've read Civil War enough time that for me, maybe on reflex, like I don't need that. Like I just know it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I know what happens, but it's still reading it this way without the Civil War issues is very disjointed.
Sure. Oh, of course. 100%. I think he means Yelena as in like
the second Black Widow.
The second Black Widow. Yeah.
Yelena as in the Thunderbolts.
Natasha's adopted sister. Yeah, exactly.
No, that Yelena, with a
Y, right? Yeah.
Not Ileana. Yelena.
Which for me is part of what also connects it to the Thunderbolts movie, besides the next storyline, which I want to get to now.
Well, before we go there, I will say I do enjoy the scene. Maybe one of my favorite scenes is the whole thing is when they first truly come together in as a team, and they're sitting around Tony's new tower, and they're all like coming down, and they're talking to each other, and like some of them are in uniform, and Luke Cage is just in a t-shirt and a stocking cap, and he's talking to Spidey, and Jessica comes down, and it's like, and there's this whole interaction of like, and Jessica says something to Pete because she knows who he is, and he's like, "Oh, you guys know each other?" And he's like, "Well, Spider-Woman, Spider-Man, are you guys related or something?" He's like, "No." You give her powers or something? No. She's totally unrelated to me in any way. So she ripped off your name. Exactly. And she's like, "Wait, you told me it was okay." And he's like, "Yeah, but I didn't tell you could have there's 10 of you out there now."
Yeah. And she's like, "That's not my fault."
And they're ripping me off.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he's like, "And I'm not seeing a dime." She's like, "A dime of what?"
A dime of what? Yeah. The banter is
that whole banter. Anytime Pete gets the banter with people he doesn't normally get the banter with, that have to deal with his ridiculousness, that is and because Jessica's trying to have Jessica and Luke are trying to have a real conversation, and then there's Pete being Pete. Yeah. So it's, I enjoy that a lot.
And I think the volume consistently brings that vibe in the interactions. I think it's a testament to Bendis, who consistently kind of fronts that sort of thing. I definitely want to mention too a little bit of the setup. This is not the first appearance of the Sentry. You don't need to have read, but it would have been interesting to include the mini series that launched the character. What I think they do a wonderful job, and this was my first entry to meeting the character, is sort of setting up who he is. And what you get in the first 3 issues of Breakout is a guy who's chosen to be locked in the raft for killing his wife. And Matt Murdock and Foggy Nelson are there to kind of ask him some questions. They were sent there to interrogate him and ask him some questions about releasing him. And of course, the breakout happens, and he goes to their rescue. He destroys Carnage and then flies off and disappears. Then later, he's found in a cave by SHIELD agents, and they're trying to convince him that he didn't kill his wife. They bring her, and they're like, no, your wife is alive. She's right here. And they also bring, in a wonderfully meta moment, the comic book writer who has been writing the mini series that launched the character.
So if you don't know, basically the background is that Sentry has been around the whole time, and he had this break. His personality splits. If you've seen the new movie, you understand the Void, his relationship to the Void. And as part of that, his memory has been wiped from the universe, via his power, via Doctor Strange, I think was part of it. And
the Illuminati, right? This was the era of Strange and Reed Richards and Xavier.
Well, we get into that. We start getting into that as we get into the next.
They basically wiped him from history
at his request.
His request.
His request. And
but of course, this doesn't solve the problem as much as compound it.
Yeah, it just delays the inevitable, which is that he's going to have to deal with this, and
But there's a comic book writer who has been writing his stories,
who remembers, who has memories. Yes,
yeah, and it's great because it is the creator of the character, as well. So it's a fun meta moment where he's like, "Did I make you? I've never met one of my creations before." It's a wonderful meta moment in this cave, and then of course it sets Bob off, and he flies away again, only to reappear in the 4-issue storyline Sentry.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on Bob? Is this your first time reading him in comics?
Basically, I've had him show up very small bits a couple other times, but so basically this is the first time I've read Bob in comics. Okay. My biggest introduction to Bob was the movie. I knew the basics of the character. I understood sort of the relationship to the Void, but in terms of really reading him, no, this is it. This is the first introduction to Bob.
I will say, after having read this a few times, I was obsessed, and then I went and read there's several miniseries, and I will say they're in Marvel fashion, poorly organized, because the original miniseries, I thought I had read it, and I was like, it doesn't really end. It's kind of weak. But there was a one-shot finale that's not often included when you're reading digitally and such.
Well, it's actually like 4 one-shots.
And yeah, there's like an Avengers one or whatever. Like each one has a different.
But only
team.
one of them is really directly related to the original 4 issues, which is what you're talking about. Yeah.
And then there were several other miniseries later on. Jeff Lemire did one, and I like all of them.
I only know this because I did, after I saw the movie this spring, I did the Let's Collect the Century and like figured out what I would need to read and stuff. So,
and I recommend people read them, especially if they're interested in the character at all, because I do think they flesh it out. And I love the concept of a character that's always been there.
They would throw in here the comics.
The throwback art style is fun.
Yeah, the guy who was writing these comics that like they're telling,
and
happened.
The little one shots are well done, and they give you the sense that like, no, he was always there. You just didn't know it, and it was very playful, and it was a very original idea, and I thought it was well executed. But for me, unnecessary, because this works for me well enough as an introduction for the character. Yeah. And then this 4-issue storyline, and I know we're spending a ton of time at the beginning of this run, but I don't care, because the second half, like we said, isn't as good as the first half. So let's spend some time on the joy. I fucking love this Century story, and the fact that it's basically, let's give Emma Frost 4 issues of Avengers is like amazing.
It is obviously, and it's a wonderful choice, because at this time, Emma had not been good for very long here, because we're talking early 2000s, like, and the fact that the psychic that they turn to is not Chuck, it's not Jean, it's Emma, and like, but you see here her and like, we know Chuck's around because we're getting the Illuminati flash things going on, but we see Emma legitimately, compassionate toward this guy. Like, she has so much compassion.
It gives me Frank Quitely, vibes, like the Grant Morrison New X-Men vibes with
which
her.
Is about the same time.
Yeah. And it plays beautifully. If having now read the Grant Morrison New X-Men run, like, this fits in lovely with that. And you see this woman who is like, this panel, gang, this spread page, holy buckets, as Bearded Comic Bro would say. I freaking love this. It's as close as you're going to get to the silent issue of New X-Men that Frank Quitely did. It gives me the same vibes. I'm very curious how you felt about this storyline and Emma's inclusion and kind of the way that they hammer away at Bob.
So that's the first page, and this goes on for several pages.
Oh my God, it's so good. Sorry.
Her and him. Oh, I got out of focus here. Hang on. I got super out of focus. There we go. And it goes on for page after page.
And the art style adjusts. The art style bounces around a lot, which they did in the mini-series of Century as well.
Of her trying to, meanwhile, she's in his mind. Meanwhile, the Void is, attacking all the heroes on the outside.
It's so good. And the cast of characters outside, it's like the Avengers and the FF and the X-Men, and it's like everybody.
Basically everybody that was part of the little Illuminati thing shows up, because it's the FF and the Inhumans, and where's the that was before.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, the Inhumans are there.
Where is the spread where they're all here's the spread where they're all at the beginning when they all show up.
So good. It's so, look at that gang. Look at that cast of characters. It's so good.
But it really comes down to Emma, who's not a part of this run, in any other aspect.
No.
And Bob. And her trying to genuinely help this guy, move past his fear of the Void. Because he's paralyzed by what he remembers of the Void and what happened.
Yeah.
Even though some of it's not even real, because his wife is still alive, and or at least as far as we can tell, some of what his fear is not necessarily real. And yeah, it's really, really well done. It's a really, like, the Century stuff is really good.
I'm glad. Okay, I'm glad you, because honestly, the first 10 issue, actually, I would say the first 15, the first half of this run is probably my favorite Avengers stuff, like bar none. And when you put that all the way through the next arc, the Secrets and Lies stuff, it really is strong and meaningful and interesting and different. And the cast is used really, really well. And it's doing original things, which I'd never really seen done in Avengers books. And so I just give Bendis all the love for these 15 issues.
Yeah, I mean, I love the part where
who's the artist on this issue, this section? I can't, because they change artists a bunch. I know we're about to get to the Frank Cho stuff.
Yeah.
And I know they had David Finch before this for the first story arc. They do have some top tier artists rotating. I just don't remember who did the Century bit.
This section, hang on, I can tell you. Let me get back to the front.
You're fine. It's fine. I mean, honestly, it's I want to just highlight that there's great talent.
Not 11 through. It's 7 through 10.
It's 7 through 10.
So yeah, it's Steve McNiven.
Yes.
Does most of that, and yeah,
he's so great. I mean, obviously, if you've loved Old Man Logan, the original book, I mean, he's a talented dude. And you look at the top tier, and Frank Cho doing interior artwork coming up here in a little bit. A lot of big names,
But yeah, I mean, but we get this great. The last part I will say about this, you get it's Emma and him going through the whole thing, and everybody else is on the outside. The bottom of the panel, and he's like, and he's like, when then? And he's like, okay. She's like, don't be afraid. But he's like, I don't know what's going to happen. And she's like, I do. And it's her going into his mind, and you see his fear, but then the next page you get.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so freaking good, man.
And
if you don't fall in love with the character of Bob in this bit, like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that was my first introduction to the character, and then went back and read the miniseries and things like that. And I'm still upset that Donny Cates ripped him in half and hasn't fixed that yet. But I get it. It's a good callback to this run. So I respect that, if nothing else. Secrets and Lies. Now your girl, Jessica Drew, gets a big, her stuff kind of comes up.
Yeah. We finally get she gets confronted by Cap.
I love how Cap figures it out because he almost dies.
Well, yeah, because we get this, and they basically, we see that Cap has been working with Ronan, who at this moment I don't know if, like, in the David Mack stuff, we knew Echo took the persona of Ronan or not.
I don't think so. And they do make Ronan look very male.
Yes.
The artwork doesn't quite suit a woman.
Well, I mean, obviously she's trying to, that's the persona she's trying to give
there's
off.
padding. Sure.
Yeah. But it's but anyway, she's basically taken this mission into Japan for Cap, and they know she's in trouble. They go to find help. They run into Hydra, and Madam Hydra is there, and she's basically like, "Oh, hey Jess, you're gonna work for me," and they capture her. But since she forces Jess to let her go, which Cap immediately realizes, wait a minute, something's wrong here. And it all comes out. Because we've known throughout the book, like, Jess has been meeting with somebody that we couldn't see. But somebody has something on her.
Yeah.
And
then when she sets Madam Hydra free by sucking her out of the Quinjet, Cap gets sucked out too, and she has to dive out there and rescue. So it's this fun thing where Cap realizes that wasn't accidental, like this was real, right? This moment has consequences in a fun kind of interesting way.
Well, yeah,
but for me, it's a good 5-issue storyline predicated on the journey Drew is on all the way through, which I liked. Like, I liked the fact that her character had so much weight in the story and significance.
Yeah. I mean, you get it. Like, the next day, they basically show up and you see her. She's eating cereal at the counter, and he sits down. She's like, "Hey, Cap." And he's like, "Hey." And he's like, "Rough night." She's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "So, who are you working for?" It's just like,
I love it. Gives Cap a moment of, like, he's not just muscle. He's intelligent, and he's figured it out, and he doesn't want to embarrass her in front of the group and spread the knowledge. He knows that compartmentalization of the knowledge matters. And so he basically uses her the same way Nick has been using her.
Yeah.
And
this is where she spends, and to her credit, she's like, she doesn't try to like really like, once he confronts her, she's like, okay, this is like, she's like, you know, they offered her powers back. Before she took them, she went to Fury, and Fury was like, do it. You know, she's been put in this position of she's working all the sides. And then like, and she basically tells them, she like one point she's like, I tried to decline, but like I didn't want to, and you guys were like insistent, hey, you need to join, be a part of this team. And she was like, and I couldn't, if they found out that I had been offered and then take it, she's like, you guys are, everyone's put me in this position. And
right.
So yeah, she's got Hydra hunting her, like trying to control her, Shield trying to control her. Now the Avengers want her to be a part of the team, and she can't like be like, no, because the other two are going to be like, what the hell are you doing? And so, yeah. And I just love how she's so open with all of them that they all know this is what she's doing. Yeah. And yet they all think they're the one playing her the most. And it's just like, you know, so she's in a very interesting position.
Yeah.
That, yeah, to see her try to play this out is,
and I know you're a very big Drew fan, and for me, this is the most I've read of her anywhere. Like I catch like a couple issues of her here or there. I've never read her solo stuff. I really was entertained by her.
There's a lot of it I haven't read, so okay. This is a good addition for me.
Okay,
even though things that come later,
you can say it.
That it's not actually her.
Right.
None of this is her.
We're going to get that in the, what's it called? Secret Invasion, right?
Secret Invasion. As we find out.
She's a Skrull. She's a
Skrull this whole time. Well, we assume it's this whole time. We don't
know exactly the moment.
Out for sure when she got replaced, but yeah.
Exactly. I'm assuming it happens during this run, but I mostly just because I like her so much here, I don't want it all retconned as not meaning anything.
Yeah.
But the end of this omnibus has the reveal of what's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. But
which I also like. I also like the fact that it feels like things that weren't quite kosher aren't kosher. Like things that were kind of weird and didn't fit, there's a reason for it. And I feel like this is the book where the heroes realize something's wrong. And if you watch all the way through, they've been the group questioning it. Meanwhile, Iron Man's like, no, we need more government oversight. Captain America's like, something's wrong here.
Yes.
And it works for me on that level, even if it's a choppy read that feels like it needs more material. Like that, the way this wraps with the Skrulls works for me. But we'll get, I guess, to some of that.
We'll get to some of that. I do think, I will say, just talking about Jessica, it's obvious that Bendis has a love for this particular character.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know if you know, like Alias was supposed to be her. And Marvel wouldn't let him use her, and that's the reason Jessica Jones.
I did not know that. No,
he wanted it to be Jessica Drew. Because at the time, they talk about this, she didn't have her power. She had lost her power. She'd been a hero who had lost her power. And he was like, I want to tell the story where she's working at like her life now. She's working as a detective. She's doing all this stuff and they were like, but all the Purple Man stuff, they were like, we don't want you to do that with a character that people know and have like history with. So they basically made him invent a new Jessica, which becomes Jessica Jones. But
that's pretty cool.
Jessica Drew. So he clearly has an affection for this character, and it comes through in the way he writes her in this opening part of this arc. So,
okay. Do we want to dive? I mean, we got 3 storylines left. We've talked a lot about the Civil War one, so we can get into it a little bit, but the collective is kind of important because this is where the House of M comes into play.
Right.
When she did No More Mutants, all the mutant, most, but not all, of the mutants vanished because
Yeah.
Marvel can't get rid of Wolverine for an extended period of time.
No.
A being from outer space comes to Earth, which they call the Collective, which is basically all the mutant powers that vanished and went away. And it sort of is this amalgam that has the power to kind of absorb characters that it's around. And the team and Maria Hill's Shield Squad are trying to deal with this entity. It's a fun roller coaster ride. Again, to your point, predicated on knowledge around
House of M.
Freaking Scarlet Witch and her deal, man. What were your thoughts? How did this read for you, independent of those other volumes? Did it feel like, there's a lot of missing material here?
No, I felt like this is the one where like not having the House of M stuff was not nearly as big a deal.
Okay.
And maybe it's because we got the disassembled stuff at the beginning, but the House of M stuff doesn't necessarily affect the interactions of the team internally. Until obviously they're dealing with this fallout, but in terms of now Tony and Cap are talking, it's not like the Civil War thing where the team is suddenly fractured and you didn't see any of it. So it's not like that in that way.
Sure.
I do think it's interesting because of the way, though, that this team fractures.
Yeah.
Is the team doesn't actually fracture when we get to Civil War, other than initially it's just Tony and Pete gets pulled to Tony's side initially.
Yeah.
But everybody else stays on the same side.
You're talking about the Civil War section?
Yeah. Well, the reason I'm talking about that, except for the fact is they reintroduced Carol here. And to give it more of a feel of an actual fracturing later. Because really, when it comes down to it, it's Tony against everybody that's on this team by the time it's done.
I mean, it is because, most of these characters, to our earlier discussions, are very much loners and they don't want government oversight. So it makes sense they would align with Cap in the coming Civil War. So giving Iron Man Carol Danvers is okay, now we leveled the field a little bit because Carol's so powerful.
And it makes sense to bring Carol in because she shows up a couple times. Obviously, she and Jessica are close. She and Tony and Cap are close because she's been a long time Avengers. But when they're facing a threat like this, it's okay, we need somebody that can match whatever this is, which she can and can't. Because even Bob can't really match this because it's so overpowered.
It's so many collective powered characters in one.
Yeah. But they kind of bring, but it's an interesting story arc. I forget who does the art in here. There's some really cool panels in here with the character. Let me get this. I
will say, as an X-Men fanboy and a House of M fan, I like this as an epilogue almost to that storyline, and it's very effective, and it builds towards a resolution to the No More Mutants thing in a nice kind of way. And obviously, Magneto fan
is why I was
Diodato,
yeah. I mean, you get this panel with Iron Man facing the suit, and
he does a great job.
The panel before that when it's facing this being that has all these powers is coming down from the sky, after it wiped out Alpha Flight.
You get Carol in the Ms. Marvel costume that's so fantastic.
I mean, you get this panel with Carol trying to absorb the energy from this guy.
So good. So flippant.
I mean, there's just some really, really cool. I mean, even here, you get these big splash pages with
heck yeah.
So the art in this section, because this is probably the most over the top battle we get in this whole thing. This is really the only kind of cosmic entity this team deals with. Everything else is pretty street level.
Yeah, it's a lot of fighting ninjas and stuff and catching criminals,
and they fight.
There's a moment we skipped when they catch Wrecker that I freaking love.
Wrecker,
all the battling with Wrecker where Jessica's like, oh, by the way, I have pheromones, and I freaking love that moment when she's admitting that she has pheromones that are affecting the men, and then Peter Parker and Luke Cage are like, no wonder I had this. Holy crap, you didn't tell us this all along. And she's like, yeah, I can impact your emotional state. And
but we also get like the start of the betrayal that leads to the Civil War.
Yeah.
In which it kind of is weird that Pete goes along with Iron Man when it happens, because basically Pete and the new Vision sort of thing, because Vision got destroyed earlier, who's helping train the new Avengers, like go to S.H.I.E.L.D. and are trying to figure out what's going on with this guy, and they realize it, and when they realize it's related to House of M, like Maria basically uses people to steal knowledge from Pete's brain. Like she basically like violates him in a way.
Just when you thought Nick Fury was the worst S.H.I.E.L.D. person in the world, you get Maria Hill.
Yeah. And which is why later the fact that he goes to that side surprises me. Like, because they truly just violate him in that. I mean, I just keep throwing the Diodato Jr. art.
He's so great, man.
Yeah. I mean,
and again, I think they get top tier artists, and each story arc gets somebody like Frank Cho or David Finch. And I think you get some really exciting paneling going on, even if you feel like JP and I that there's maybe additional event story significance that you are missing. The quality of the writing and the character work and the art all kind of goes together.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's Jamie saying the same thing. I appreciate you, J Hood.
Yeah.
So then, do you want to say anything more about the Civil War storyline? Because we're kind of at that one. This is where it feels most disjointed for me, the reader, reading it this way. It's because you're getting stuff that goes in between each issue of Civil War.
Yeah.
And whatever happens in that particular issue obviously impacts where the characters are, whether they're in hiding, whether they're running off to recruit people. There's a lot of that imbalance in the Marvel universe playing out here. I could see it being totally frustrating to read. Inversely, as having read Civil War a bunch at this point, it's fine with me. Like those 5 issues are just kind of like, they're just a little seasoning around the event.
Yeah.
And but if I had never read Civil War, this would be
Civil War. I know what happens. I've never read it.
It would be infuriating. I would imagine.
It was like I knew enough that it was like that I could understand. Like I know enough about what happened that I can understand. But yeah, it gave, like I said, it gave me that Marauders vibe where like you get like 2 issues of Marauders, and then you would get 3 issues of X of Swords, and then you would get 2 issues of Marauders, and then you would get 3 issues of the Hellfire Gala, where you don't even see Kitty or Emma or or whatever, and it's like, okay, like in this case, at least you're seeing them. I will say before we get into this, we haven't really touched on the Illuminati thread that goes through here.
Right.
Which is
Go ahead.
really what leads to Tony making the decisions that he makes. Is he tries it one way with the Illuminati, and that falls apart when Reed and Namor and T'Challa, to his credit, right off the bat, it's like, this is a bad idea, boys. He's like, and Strange and everybody like trying to control and do all of this stuff, like the Illuminati thread and how that falls apart, like directly leads to a lot of this. So I do think it's an interesting thread that goes through here.
Yeah.
But yeah, the arrogance, but it really comes down to Tony's arrogance, and he is infuriating in this.
I like, so you and I we joke that like we were separated at birth. Like you and I, we view things a lot, and it is probably, coming up the same years, reading a lot of the same things. Our perspectives are very aligned. Yeah, we're Team Cap on this, right?
Oh my God,
100%, right? I don't understand.
I was so wrong about everything that comes out of his mouth. Like,
I'm just glad to know that, because I do know that Team Iron Man people exist. I just don't know that I've run across very many of them, and I don't know that I would respect them very much. It's so clearly evident that he's in the wrong in this story. What I like most about it is that they don't allow him to lose, that they let him win. I think is an actually interesting development at the end of Civil War.
Yeah.
That Cap bends to Iron Man at the end.
Well, he doesn't bend. Cap doesn't bend. I mean,
he has the moment when he wins and he stops himself and basically turns himself in and is arrested and then frozen, basically, put in a catatonic state. In my opinion, that leaves Iron Man as the victor of Civil War Volume 1.
Yes.
And then it sets, in a wonderful way, sets a trajectory for Marvel for the next few years where our heroes, as we read in the next storyline, are on the run and continuing the war without their captain.
Yeah.
Which I want to highlight. Sorry, M-Dub. Ryan mentioned he loves the way this bleeds into Secret Invasion and the Lineal U stuff that comes later on. He says it was always wild for me when Iron Man became the biggest MCU character after his first movie, and at the same time was basically almost a villain at Marvel at the time. And I totally agree. And I think it's evident here, although it does end before that Secret Invasion storyline, which would be the beginning of Volume 2, because the reveal of the Skrulls thing we mentioned is kind of
we get the fight at the end where
with Elektra and everything. We get more ninjas and more Ronin in the next plot line. But anything as Civil War wise you wanted to mention here before we finish the final arc?
Well, here the thing that like I did find interesting is like for me, it was just like Tony is so wrong, and like even later he's like, well, you should just bow. Even like, but after like Cap gets murdered or whatever, and then like he has the whole thing, and he even admits to himself that it wasn't worth it, and he starts to realize he's wrong, and his argument to everyone else as well. I know, like one of the later scenes where he talks to him is like, it's basically like, I know I'm wrong. I know this is wrong, but I won, so you have to do it. We're going to do it anyway. It's like, well, I won, even though I know this isn't the right thing to continue to do. We're going to keep doing it. Yeah. And it's like, dude, like even you know you're wrong, and but you have the power now, so you refuse to let it go.
But I think it's part of the fun of that event, and the reason why I think it's lasted as long as it has is the underdog quality of what Captain America and Luke Cage and ultimately this, as you pointed out, this new Avengers team are leading that counterculture response. And I think that's the fun of it, is cheering for the underdogs and then having them win outright, but realizing that it was a Pyrrhic victory, right? Where they have won the war or won the battle, but lost the war because the civilians have sided with the fascists. And it's a wonderful moment where Cap puts the shield down. And it's a great event. It is one of the best Marvel events.
Here. Like you said, I wish instead of disassembled, we got Civil War here.
And ultimately what I ended up doing as research when we were reading this was I considered buying the Civil War omnibus instead of this one, just so that I had all those tie-ins and all the pieces, because I want to eventually at some point read Civil War the entirety, because it was one of the, as much as I've read of it, it's one of those events that I feel like has legs. And all the extended pieces that connect, all the tie-in pieces have so many repercussions and so much value that for me, I want to read it all and see as an entire event chronologically how it plays out, because I've read, I would probably hazard to guess about 60% and have enjoyed almost completely everything I've read. And I think having all of these single issues I think in the end, I'll probably end up buying the Civil War omnibus.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that even in
amplify.
print at the moment? I don't even know.
I don't think it is. I think I saw that it was OOP, and that I would just I put a watch notice on eBay for a certain price point. But for me, that's my biggest takeaway was finishing this omnibus. Or finishing reading these books in your omnibus.
Yeah.
I felt like my biggest takeaway was that I want to get the Civil War omnibus.
But I love, like, as we get in here, like, we get the flashes of like what would become like the Dark Avengers and like the villains that have become heroes because they're hunting the actual heroes, and like the people how Tony has compromised so much of what he was to win, and like it became more about winning than it became about what it was supposed to be about, which was doing the right thing. And so and I even love the whole, like, there's a great sequence when Carol and Jessica like confront each other because they've been friends forever, and Carol ends up letting her go, and Tony's like, I'm arresting her for treason. And Carol's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing at this point? And because he can't let it go. And like, I mean, and that leads to the final story arc where he's like trying to hunt them in Doctor Strange's house, and he knows they're there, but he can't actually find them. And like, because and even as he's talking to him, then it's not about doing the right thing. It's about, but I won. You have to let I won.
Right.
It's, it's this whole thing at that point is, I was the winner. You guys have to let I won. You have to accept it. It's so whiny. It's so pathetic.
Like, I mean, it really is. But and I think for me, as frustrating as it is, it's also kind of like it works for me because it is in keeping with the characters that we're following, i.e. Luke Cage and Spider-Man and things like that. The division in the Marvel universe plays out beautifully kind of here. Ryan says it sure was fun, especially the fractions in the World's Most Wanted arc after Norman took over S.H.I.E.L.D. Thunderhouse Design, welcome to the chat. Thank you for coming by. He says, it's been so long since I read this run. Listening to this discussion reminded me of how good it was and how much we as readers couldn't wait for each new issue. Ryan also says, I bought all of the Bendis Avengers, New Avengers, Dark Avengers, Avengers Assemble, complete collection trades, great rabbit hole. And I've never read Dark Avengers, which is the Norman Osborn faux Avengers crew with like villains as the characters.
Like, which part of that too, though.
He is. And I know only from context clues kind of what that storyline meant and what was actually happening. So I've not read any of that stuff, but I do have interest in reading it. And yes, that omnibus is way out of print, the Civil War one. And it actually is several omnis, I realize. There's like an X-Men Civil War omnibus. And it's like,
there's a bunch of them.
It's a ton to read. I know that on the Marvel app, you can read it all chronologically. There's a Civil War event section, and you can just click and just go insane on what you all read there. He also says he read the Warren Thunderbolts first. If you do, he says read the Warren Thunderbolts first. If you do, it's a great run. Okay, I've never read that. I've actually never read a Thunderbolts book. Period.
So I want to come back to this, like the sequence that I was talking about. Like, like Tony sets a trap for him because they're still like fighting the man. They're refusing to bend the knee, and he sets a trap for him, like make him believe Cap's alive. And
so this is the final arc, Revolution, where the last few surviving members of Cap's crew decide to continue the shadow war against the government, despite the fact that they have no funding, no support, and now no leader.
Yeah.
And then S.H.I.E.L.D. sets a trap with a fake Captain America in comatose state. And the team tries to break. And it's a split narrative because it keeps jumping, which frustrated me. It was hard to read. Because you jump
too much, but like I think it would have been better if it hadn't been split. I would agree with that, but I didn't. But for the most part, I thought it worked okay. Like it wasn't the best, but I thought it worked okay.
it's a split between in the past them trying to rescue Cap and falling into a trap, and in the present them fighting Elektra and her like
trying to
hand
rescue Ronan or Echo.
Meanwhile, yeah, a
Which is
new Ronan,
because Echo was still following Cap's orders.
yes,
And so they went to help her
yeah,
because he was still trying to complete a mission that she'd taken for him.
but we have dueling Ronan because obviously Echo is Ronan, and then we have Hawkeye, who we can do a little discussion of Hawkeye's storyline here too, because I do like Hawkeye and his use in this as well. Even though it's really frustrating as a collector to be like, first Ronan, second Ronan, who's Ronan, why Ronan, how Ronan?
Well, basically, like, he didn't want to go back to being Hawkeye, so they're like, well, here we got Echo's suit, you can be the Ronan, like, where we go to try to find her. And
I agree with this Thunderhouse completely. There's a lot of great character stuff in all through Civil War. I feel like it's a wonderful example of good character evolution and growth.
But the point what I was trying to get at here is, like, they go to try to save him, and they escape by, basically, Doctor Strange makes them all of Tony's team see their biggest fears.
Yeah.
And which for Tony is like a zombified Cap coming back to like be like, dude, and then he like freaks out. Yeah. But it leads to him going to. I love, like, he sends Brother Voodoo in to try to find him in Doctor Strange's house. And Brother Voodoo's like, yeah. He's like, they might be there, but he's called the Master of Mystic Arts for a reason. He's the master. Yep. He's like, he knows no more at this one.
Voodoo versus Strange.
He couldn't figure out what Strange was doing.
Yeah, yep.
And Tony, and that to me, where Tony knows he's wrong.
Yeah,
but he just
it's a great speech. Tony knows they're there, and he knows they're going to be gone shortly, so he has an opportunity to say something, and it fits his character beautifully. But it's frustrating to read because he's such a fucking idiot.
Yeah. It's like, because he's like, I know you, Stephen, Luke, Peter. I know you guys. I know you're here. Yeah. It's like, I know tomorrow you won't be. And I just wanted to say, for the life of me, I can't figure out what you're doing. You lost the war. He's like, and like, you fought and you lost. You should suck it up and join us and be the heroes. And you can be heroes again. You can be Avengers again. It's like, the only difference is, well, you know what the difference is? I'm not going to sell you, but I wonder at this point, what do you think you'll accomplish? What kind of life is this? Are you just rebelling against me because you don't know what else to do? He's like, I really want to know. Please let me in. And like, and it's because he's doing the wrong thing. Like, this whole time, they're like,
yeah.
So we lost the war, but we're still here. We're still going to try to do the right thing. And he just doesn't get it at all.
Nope.
And yeah,
it's a great moment because he could have, I think it's like the Civil War film. I think at any point he could have won them over with the right speech, but he can't seem to find the words, and he screws it up. He gets in his own way.
But because he's coming from because even if he says he can't say the right thing right there because he knows deep down, like, after he went through with Cap instead, and after the issue where he talks to Cap and Cell, he knows down that he's in the wrong.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean he didn't win. Sometimes the wrong side wins, and like, he won, but he knows that, like, and so he's like, just come back and we'll make it all work and it'll all be fine. And they're like, no, you've crossed the line that we're not willing to cross.
Yeah.
Even if it means we have to live as outlaws for the rest of this, we're going to keep doing the things we think are right.
Yeah.
And he can't conceive of that. Yeah.
No. His ego won't allow it.
No.
Yeah. Firstly, this has been a very entertaining discussion, and it feels like it's ultimately like Marvel history writ large. Yeah. Like, it's an opportunity to look at a specific moment in time from House of M, Civil War, Secret Invasion. Like, it's this moment in Marvel history that is kind of fun. And of course it has the mark of Bendis in a big way. And I'm curious. This conversation's made me like it more. I knew it would. But I'm just curious at the end now, volume 1 done. Do you have interest in reading volume 2? Where's your takeaway?
I would. I think probably like I do have interest in reading volume 2 because I've never read it. I know it reads into the Secret Invasion stuff.
That's where it launches from.
This point, need to like track down just the main Civil War event and finally like just read that.
Hey,
like,
if you want to do a deep dive and read the, I don't know if you have the Marvel app at this point.
I don't, but yeah.
If you want to do the entire Marvel Civil War event, like I'm fine. I don't
know that I want to do the whole event. I mean, like the main, like I don't know that I want to go down the rabbit hole you're talking about. I think start with just reading like the 8 issues.
The 8 issues, yeah.
But yeah, but I will say, I mean, obviously, like the cliffhanger here at the end of this is, they're fighting the ninjas. Echo stabs Elektra, and you get this like great panel. Like she stabs her.
Yep.
And then on the next panel,
it's so good.
Is like
it's such a great reveal.
The ninjas all like run away, and they just leave the body, and they're like, "Wait, they don't normally leave a body." And then you see this reveal.
It's so good.
And they're all standing there and they're like, what the hell does this mean? It's like, what does this mean? They're like,
it's so good.
I mean, and that's where they just leave it for this volume. So it's a wonderful setup for what we know is coming.
And again, three events that I have some, even though I wasn't reading at this time in Marvel history, I've gone and read Secret Invasion. I've gone and read Civil War and House of M, and they're good. Like they're good stories. They're creative, original ideas. So to see this new Avengers run kind of bridge all of those events, whether it's choppy or whether it's strong, is challenge. It's a real challenge.
I feel like I have such a mixed feeling about events like this because I do think these are like you're talking about, these are 3 of the stronger events Marvel's ever done. And they're back to back to back, basically. And they sort of tell one long arc here that we get.
Yeah.
But I also feel like they've led to so many god-awful events.
But you can't hold them accountable for that, right?
Yeah. And that goes back to, I mean, you could go back and blame that on the original Secret Wars and the original Crisis on Infinite Earths. As being so successful, and then both companies are like crossovers. Like, we're gonna do 4 a year, and it's like no!
right. Yeah, Thunderhouse says the same kind of thing. Diminishing returns. It peaked at Civil War. Although I enjoyed Secret Invasion, but it may be that I have a particular love for I've read the main series and I love the way it connects to New Avengers, but I've also read the phenomenal 3 issues that Jason Aaron wrote of Black Panther that tie into Secret Invasion, which I hype a ton. Where Skrulls try to invade Wakanda, and it does not go well for the Skrulls. It's like a vacation poster, if you can imagine it. It's called "See Wakanda and Die."
I have not seen this at all.
It's amazing. Jason Aaron, I think it's the only 3 issues of Black Panther he's ever written, and it's the monarchs of Wakanda, Storm and T'Challa, fending off a Skrull invasion. It's just 3 issues long. There's one great cover of Storm and T'Challa as Skrulls, like hugging each other. That's really kind of like twisted and perverse. But it's 3 great issues that if you read Secret Invasion and that, you would get such a phenomenal read out of it. I think I have. Every time I see those 3 issues of Black Panther, I buy them. So I probably have 3 sets of them. I can send you at some point. It's a great mini story where you just see Storm and T'Challa dealing with an invasion in Wakanda. It's like, this is not Captain America where I'm going to arrest the Skrull and send it to jail. This is the Wakandans who are like, I'm going to stick your head on a freaking pike. You're going to die and it's going to suck.
That's awesome. Okay.
And Jason
I did
Aaron,
not know about that aspect of Secret Invasion, so I did
it's a
not
really
know.
it's fun because the whole Marvel universe gets invaded, but Wakanda is like, no, 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 no. You don't
Yeah.
come into our house.
Like, yeah, they ain't messing around.
Yeah, see Wakanda. I recommend if they're enjoying the discussion, check out See Wakanda and Die. You'll find those 3 issues in dollar bins. They're not expensive keys, but they've got great covers of Storm and T'Challa. Really good stuff.
Nice.
Well, another successful omnibus discussion, JP.
You weren't that scattered.
I wasn't that. I mean, let's be fair. This and the Daredevil ones we've done. This is like John's return to comics and Marvel. This is my stuff. Yeah, man. I love this stuff, and the fact that you were willing to go through a Bendis bender with me is fantastic.
There are always things that like I've heard people talk about that I've like, oh, I should get back to and read at some point. So
Sure.
it worked out good. New Avengers is something that I actively wanted to go back and read because it is a team that probably interests me more than a typical Avengers team because you got Pete and Logan and Jessica and even like Luke. It's like it's got a group of characters that
I love Luke Cage in this.
It tends to draw me more than Wonder Man or Vision or Hawkeye or like some of the
Quicksilver,
like some of the other Avengers over the years. It's like
sure,
I mean, I like Carol.
I feel like they let Bendis pick his squad, and he was like, "I want Wolverine, I want Spider-Man, I want Captain America." He was like, "Give me the A-list."
Like, I get how important he is to like the MCU. Yeah. But I've never been a Tony fan. He's always been an a-hole. Like he's always been this arrogant.
And he is the antagonist for a lot of this, along with Maria Hill. I think the two of them are the like shadow figures at the back, even though they're fighting Skrulls and whatever else. It's a lot of Maria Hill being the villain and by proxy, I think Iron Man. Great discussion in the chat. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, Mark Millar was a big proponent or a big part of this era, along with Bendis, which, as I understand, this is the most Bendis you've really ever kind of absorbed. This and the Daredevil, you've really gotten a lot of Bendis.
I have read like the first 100 issues of Ultimate Spider-Man, like when it was
okay. There you go. Oh, there you go.
Like, so I knew Bendis, but I wasn't reading any of his other stuff at that time.
Yeah. And he knows Peter, and he has Peter's voice kind of down. And in this storyline, every time Peter throws a quip, it's like that's Peter Parker. Yeah. he nails that voice.
I mean, all the quips about ninjas, like there's so many. There's him talking about ninjas is so like how he hates ninjas, and then later he's like, I could really use a fight against ninjas, instead of this.
Yeah,
the ninjas weren't so bad.
Right.
Like,
so good.
Yeah. And the whole thing about them using the Spider-Woman name and that I'm not seeing the dime and like it's just so well, like,
well, as we usually do, we bounce back and forth DC Marvel. So you can expect at least in we're already in August. In August, a DC discussion around some omnibus of one or another. We will try to announce it so you guys can join us. We try to connect to the hangouts in the chat, the people that are enjoying this, because the truth is this is just a great way to read the books you've got, gang. Like the books that you're enjoying, the things in your collection. I know a lot of us, especially JP and I, the era that we're in our collection is omnibus reading and buying. And it's nice to take them off the shelf like Batwoman that we did before this and get into those Gotham Central stories that we love and or read them the first time, which, I think is an exciting moment. And so I appreciate those in the chat. And of course I appreciate JP for letting me go along for his reads of these for the first time.
Yeah, this is it's not me letting you go along with the ride. It's you letting me. I mean, we're on your channel here. We're you're prompting me to read things I've always wanted to read. And, we're using this as an excuse to talk about great stories and great comics. And hopefully that's what anybody that's watching this is doing, is like taking from this. Is not necessarily read this, but go find the stories you like and find a way to read them one way or another. And enjoy comics for the art form that it is. So instead of just, it's a slab on my wall that's worth something. So,
there's not a lot of,
but this is why we love them, is the stories.
And I will say I purchased this whole run as a lot off of eBay way before the Ronin Infinity War spec hit, because I was enjoying the read, and I was like, you know what, I bet they're all dollar bin issues that with no spec value. I'm gonna make you spend 5 extra minutes, because there is a one shot in here that I really like, and it's kind of an oddity. Okay. The Hawkeye issue with Scarlet Witch.
Oh yeah, we skipped the Hawkeye Scarlet Witch issue. Yeah.
The reason I bought this whole run was because of how much I was enjoying these little moments and these little character things. There's a single issue, for those that don't know, with one of the great, I don't even know the cover artist. It's so freaking, is that what's his name?
Is it not Maleev?
Maleev from Daredevil. I wouldn't be surprised.
It is not. It says cover art was Addie Granoff and it's Pasquale Ferry, but I almost thought it was Maleev.
It looks like a Maleev cover, but the idea is Hawkeye is he's the freaking silly putty of Marvel Universe. He's getting stretched and pulled and squished in all different directions. He's died several times over. Wanda has killed him off in all these events. And he's brought back to life, probably by her guilty conscience, while Wanda has gone into hiding with Agatha and given herself basically a lobotomy. She has no memory of what she's done. And this issue, this one shot, which leads into him being part of the team in the Revolution final arc, has Hawkeye hunting her down in Eastern Europe, finding her hiding out. And he's planning ultimately what seems to be murder. He's planning to kill her for what she did to him.
Yeah.
And he does the next best thing, which is he bangs her. It's so good. It's such a good issue. I like it for him. I like it for her. I like it for, as Ryan is saying, like a cap to the House of M, and then a segue into him being Ronin and being part of the Avengers. Like I adore this issue, even though it's so cheesy and pulpy and ridiculous that he just goes right in from I want to kill you to I'm gonna screw you. Like I was curious how you felt about it.
So Hawkeye, it's a little odd because Hawkeye like dies in the disassembled event. Yeah. And then, which is immediately off to the side, followed by the House of M stuff, where he's like brought back and he dies, and he dies like 2 more times during that before he's finally ultimately brought back or something. Like she brings you back to kill him, to bring you back to kill like
yep.
So when he finally like pulls himself together and he goes to visit Doctor Strange and he goes to hunt her, and Doctor Strange is like, "You're probably not going to get closure here. This is not going to work."
And he's right. He's right.
Yeah. But Hawkeye's like, no, I'm going to go. And then, it's like he sees something and he tries to help this woman that's being thing, and it turns around and it's her. And he's just like, and she, and then he like, he's going to kill her, but then instead he just has sex with her and goes home. And it's just like, okay. And then when they all ask about her, he's like, yeah, you're not going to find what you're looking for. He's like, because I didn't either. But, he took the time to get sex before he left. So
it feels like the most Matt Fraction David Asia moment of like I don't think you've even read the Hawkeye Matt Fraction run.
I've read like the first part of it, but I haven't read the whole thing. I have that on me over there.
It's so wonderfully in keeping with a character who has all of this like angst and trauma, who funnels it through being a hero and having sex with beautiful women. Like it's so wonderfully true to him, but I could see people reading it without having that knowledge of the character being a little taken aback by the issue, because I love it. I think it's fantastic.
I do think the interesting part for me of the Hawkeye return is the fact that the group, because Hawkeye is known to, like, over the years, that him and Cap have like clash on methods a lot.
Yeah. But not on ideology. I feel
ideology.
like ideologically, they are definitely on the screw Iron Man side of things.
Oh, yes, for sure. But yeah, but when they come back, so they all think that like he's not going to that he's going to be on like Iron Man's side, that they can't trust him, and he's like no. He's like, no, I'm Team Cap. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's like,
Which for me, again, it all works, but I could see it being disorienting for a certain fan that maybe is not as familiar.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just wanted to at least mention it. I freaking love that issue. All right, gang, we're gonna bounce, but I want to highlight my hope is that next month we're doing Nightwing Volume 1. There's a new omnibus that just dropped. This is the Tom Taylor, Bruno Redondo storyline, the one that I've got on a poster behind me, double signed by these incredible creators. And if you've seen my Instagram, my daughter Charlie has read voraciously through the entire Tom Taylor run. I pulled out the short box, gave it to her, which is why Black Panther is now behind me. This short box, the Batman short box, is gone because Charlie's absconded with it. My hope is that the next omnibus discussion, JP gets a far better, superior host. He's going to get
willing to put up with me. That's the question.
Charlie's done enough shows with you. She is ready.
Nice.
So she is. Yeah. So my hope is that we do a Nightwing discussion, Tom Taylor Nightwing, as our next DC volume. And I know Lasso, we owe you at least one of many.
Multiple. We owe him multiple. We do.
Many Wonder Woman discussions are in the future. But this will at least allow me the time to catch up a little bit. And
it's also timely. She's just read this.
She just read it and she really enjoyed it.
Interested. Yeah. And so, yeah. And if anybody knows me, they know I'm always interested in Nightwing. So,
yeah.
And the first half of the Taylor run just came out on Omni. I think the second half is scheduled for like December or something like that. And yeah, so I'm wanting to reread this anyway. And so yeah, it'll be fun for sure.
Oh, John's advice convinced me to buy a double page spread from that run from Redondo. Oh, I'm sorry to make you spend money, but I will say that when Charlie finished reading it, I pulled down because I bought 2 pages of art from Redondo and Taylor's run. And I showed her the pages and I was like, look, this is the pages that I bought. And she was like, no way, that's cool to see them in black and white. Obviously they are mono prints. They're one of one digital prints because Redondo is a digital artist, but yeah, really cool. I'm glad you got one.
That's awesome.
Just picked up the Marvel swimsuit short. Let's not dive. I'm not ready for that.
No, I didn't buy any of that. So yeah,
that's the plan for the next omnibus discussion. So if you have Nightwing issues in your short box, or if you've got the omnibus for Volume 1 and want to discuss it, that's the next plan, at least for now. Yeah. Huge thank you, JP. I appreciate it, man. A huge apology to Magic Lasso for putting Wonder Woman off for a couple.
We just keep doing it. We keep telling him we're not going to, and then we do it. We're just saying,
Hashtag deal with it.
It's just like Lasso, Lasso. You just have to think of it this way. You're just like Matt Damon on the Kimmel Show, where it's like you're always in the thing. You're always Matt. You're always.
Does that make you?
Lasso.
You get to be Ben Affleck, and I'll be Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, it's always Kimmel's always like, he's got him back in the green room. He's gonna bring Matt Damon out, and then they just run out of time.
We ran out of time. Nightwing came first, and yeah, it's rough. But thank you everybody for coming, and we'll hope to see you guys again here at the end of August somewhere, maybe. Yeah. Bye, gang.